systematic approach for a sustainable outcome, it made me also think about what were going to be or are my approaches. How am I approaching this? And how am I looking at this? You know, I tell you all the time, I love variety. I love variety in food. I love variety in life. So with that being said, I had really not wanted to put myself down into any, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. Oh, I got to do that. You know, because I think when I think of lifestyle changes, I still think of the variety. But then I realized, okay, I got to have some type of systematic approach with my eating, with my exercise, with my drinking of getting and staying hydrated and drinking water. So as much as I am a person who does not like to be rigid, meaning in some type of rigidity, I realize there's some things that may be considered to be rigid, but they're needed, meaning if I need to drink more water, I gotta have rigidity about that and say, hey, I'm gonna be rigid about drinking this water. I'm just gonna drink as much water as I needed in order to stay hydrated. Then I'm thinking, okay, in my mind, sustainable. Because is it gonna be when I do finally get to my goal that I'm not gonna maybe have a margarita or a glass of wine? Absolutely, that's probably not on my agenda right now. If I get to that point, I'll let you know. But I realize, you know, I gotta have something that's sustainable. And even on this journey, while I am on this point of I want to lose weight, I want to still be able to enjoy life as well. And I think that's a hard balance that we have to take sometimes, because, you know, I could say, yes, okay, I'm absolutely not doing any desserts and I'm actually not doing any glasses of wine while I'm on this journey. And then when I get off the journey, if I start eating a dessert and I do drink a glass of wine, am I going to be so worried about, oh, am I going to gain a pound? I think me blending it in now is better to do now than try to say I'm going to be so rigid and strict right now that when I get to the end, I'm going to have these moments, and that can lead into the slips, you know, where you're like, oh, I had one. Once I take one, I'm going to keep going. Morning, this is Lifestyle for Living. I just want to take you on one of my days. Today is Sunday. I'm actually doing a walk this morning. One of the things I talk about a lot is your glucose, and one of the great things about when you're even on a GLP-1 semaglutide tirzepatide medication is you have to put in the lifestyle changes in order to see the results. So if anyone's telling you, oh, you just got to take the shot and you're good, that's a lie. That's not true. That's not valid. So what I'm doing today, and I try to do every day, I'm already doing strength training about 3 to 4 times a week. And I know that I like to walk and exercise, so that's what I'm doing today. And if you are like me, who I'm a slow responder, I found out with Wegovy, like I told you when I did Mounjaro, I really didn't change a lot and I lost. But on this Wegovy, I'm having to actually put a little more conscientious thought into what I'm doing, making sure that I am making those lifestyle changes, because I do see where this is something that is not a magic pill, it's not a magic shot, and it's not, the weight is not just gonna fall off of you. So this is what I'm doing today. You can see around. I'll flip right quick so you can see what's behind me. It's really a nice trail, and I'm not secluded. There are other people that come out on the trail. You see the gentleman, there's a lot of cyclists. I want to get to the point one day where I can do the cycling, but I'm not there yet. So I'm just kind of working it as I go. But just want to kind of show you one of the things I do on Sundays or any day. I've been liking walking. This is my 3rd time walking this week. So even doing my strength training, I've actually been incorporating more walking exercise. And for me, this is sometimes better than walking on the treadmill. So just want to give you that. When I get to a certain point, I'm going to talk about what happened this week and did I lose weight, did I not lose weight, and keep you posted on that. And we'll keep it moving. So I've completed 2 miles and I decided to turn around and head back. But I'm gonna tell you, this is something when I keep saying you gotta know your why. And I was just listening to a message that said you gotta know what you're expecting. And this is why you do what you do, because it's what is your expectation out of this. And then one of the other good points that was brought out is what are the benefits? So there's two different things between your expectation and the benefits. That's two separate things, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we go. But yeah, so I'm going to flip this for a minute so you can see it's fun going downhill, but when you done did 2 miles and you got to flip it back around to start going back uphill, let me just show you a hill I'm going to take. So this is the hill I got coming up. But I did plan this so that I could stop to this view that I really like up here. And I'm going to show you that when I get there. And I'm probably going to sit there for about 5 or 10 minutes because I've already been walking for about 45 minutes. So this is something that I enjoy doing. And also I understand that it's a benefit. And the expectation is to reach it back to my car. So I'll keep you posted. So this is the spot that I was telling you about. I really love walking up here, and what I usually do is go past this spot and then I'll actually come back and go back down. But I really love this spot. It is really nice. It's so serene. It's almost in the heat of the day today, so I'm not going to stay up here too long, but I just wanted to show it to you. So I just finished that 4-mile walk, and it was a good walk. I can say I enjoyed it. It's pleasurable for me. One of the things it did make me think about on this journey, which is something that I hadn't thought about, and I think it was the word that I was listening to, and it said that you have to have a systematic approach for a sustainable outcome. That really made me start thinking, because it said, you know, it made me say to myself, well, you got to have a routine to get a sustainable outcome. And you know, we talk a lot about lifestyle changes. But really what it comes down to is it's a systematic approach, meaning the changes that I'm making are to help me have a sustainable outcome that once I do reach my goal, I can sustain it. And as I was thinking about that, I was like, you know, when you're starting on this journey and you're watching everybody, and everybody, if you notice, has a different approach. Some people say, oh, I lost weight, I didn't do anything. Some people say, oh, I lost weight, I did this or that. And everybody is different. And that's why you really gotta figure out what's working for you, what approach is working for you, what system, i.e. routine, is working for you. And I realized with me, I am a slow responder to the GLP semaglutide. As I mentioned in my previous video, when I took the tirzepatide, Mounjaro, which is also known as Zepbound, I lost relatively quickly. But I will say, I started out on this journey, I was 226 pounds. And today, I'm actually 196 pounds. So I have lost weight, but that's taken the time. I mean, when I did the Mounjaro, I lost that 21 pounds in 3 months. I thought, oh, I don't need it anymore. I could do it on my own. I really thought I had achieved it. But then I realized that I was still trying to get my A1C numbers down. And honestly, I was doing things that I probably could have done a little differently, probably more than likely a lot differently. But then when I was thinking about this systematic approach for a sustainable outcome, it made me also think about what were going to be or are my approaches. How am I approaching this? And how am I looking at this? You know, I tell you all the time, I love variety. I love variety in food. I love variety in life. So with that being said, I had really not wanted to put myself down into any, oh, I got to do this, oh, I got to do that, oh, I got to do that, you know, because I think when I think of lifestyle changes, I still think of the variety. But then I realized, okay, I got to have some type of systematic approach with my eating, with my exercise, with my drinking of getting and staying hydrated and drinking water. So as much as I am a person who does not like to be in a be rigid, meaning in some type of rigidity, I realized there's some things that may be considered to be rigid, but they're needed, meaning if I need to drink more water, I gotta have rigidity about that and say, hey, I'm gonna be rigid about drinking this water. I'm just gonna drink as much water as I needed in order to stay hydrated. And then I think about food. Okay, if I want something to be sustainable, yeah, there's gonna be I gotta hold it in the line, meaning I can't eat cake every day, even though I love dessert. You know what I mean? So while sometimes we're doing these approaches and we're thinking about things, you have to really look at, okay, what am I really willing to put in place that's going to be sustainable? And I think with a lot of the hype about the semaglutides and the GLP and the tirzepatides, yes, a lot of people are making great strides and changes, but then you see the studies that show that there's a high percentage of people who actually, after they've lost the weight, they gain the weight back. And I really think those who are successful with not gaining the weight back are those who put those systems in place while they're on this journey that they can sustain. And I think that's what it really comes down to. Is it sustainable? So I'm about to take my 15th shot. And I know, you heard me talk about the 3 months on Wegovy. I did not lose as much weight as I thought I would have lost. I really was comparing it to the Mounjaro and how much weight I lost on the Mounjaro. Last week with me doing the factor meals, well, I should say the week before with me doing the factor meals, I actually lost 3 pounds that week. But I think I also controlled and had better intake of water. And so the retention of the water was probably going down for me. Now this week, even though I had the factor meals, we had 2 luncheons for work. So I ate both those days out for lunch. We had a burn boot camp night out, and I actually did drink a margarita that night, and I had dessert. So, then I'm thinking, okay, in my mind, sustainable. Because is it going to be when I do finally get to my goal that I'm not going to maybe have a margarita or a glass of wine? Absolutely. That's probably not on my agenda right now. If I get to that point, I'll let you know. But I realize, I got to have something that's sustainable. And even on this journey, while I am on this point of I want to lose weight, I want to still be able to enjoy life as well. And I think that's a hard balance that we have to take sometimes because, I could say, yes, okay, I'm absolutely not doing any desserts and I'm actually not doing any glasses of wine while I'm on this journey. And then when I get off the journey, if I start eating a dessert and I do drink a glass of wine, am I going to be so worried about, am I going to gain a pound? I think me blending it in now is better to do now than try to say I'm going to be so rigid and strict right now that when I get to the end, I'm going to have these moments, and that can lead into the slips, where you like, I had one. Once I take one, I'm going to keep going. I think for me, if I can show control now, meaning, okay, yes, Friday night, I had a margarita and I had a dessert. I'm good. I'm back on track. And I see still that I'm losing weight. I see that I'm still doing things. This week, I think I just mentioned I only lost like a pound this week, but I'm happy with the pound because I'm like, it's still progress. And as long as I see that, that's a good thing for me. And if we really think about it, the semaglutides, the tirzepatides, the GLP-1 medications, they really are mainly like an appetite suppressant, and they do keep that food noise down where you're like, I'm not thinking about food, or I don't have to have food, but you still got to eat. And you still got to do things that you enjoy. And I think that's what I'm doing right now. So for this week, I want to talk about systematic approach for sustainable outcome. What can we put in place? And then I would tell you, if you just started out, start slow. You can't do and say, this is, okay, these are my things that I'm going to put in place. Yes, it's good to write those out, but sometimes if you try to do too much at one time, you're not going to sustain it. So that's when you really got to say, okay, I'm going to focus on this right now. I think it was one of those things like when I started cutting out carbs and I started saying, okay, cut out refined carbohydrates. And so my first thing was added sugar. That was my first focus. I'm cutting out added sugar. Then my next thing was bread. Okay, I'm cutting out bread. Those are the type of things that you have to do systematically, routinely, and you do it slowly. It's not a total, I'm cutting this out, total, I'm cutting that out. It's what can I do that I can actually put in practice. Because if you're like me, have you ever started something and you say, okay, I'm gonna do this for 30 days, and then by the time you get to week 2, you like, nah, you didn't keep it up. So those are the type of things I think I'm going to work on coming up, is trying to get in routines of doing things and sticking to it. I think that's the biggest key, because we all could have this thing of thinking we're going to start something, but by the time we get to week 2, it's not sustainable. And you're like, oh, I didn't sustain it. Or it's maybe that you didn't stick to it long enough. So that's something that I'm going to work on. So with me going into about to be taking my next dose, and I actually meet with my Plush care provider this coming Friday, and I'm going to probably go up on dose. I'm seeing that I probably need a stronger dose on the Wegovy. I think somebody commented, when I talked about I didn't lose as much weight on the Wegovy that I did on the Mounjaro. They were like, you're not even in a high enough dose. I'm like, yeah, but I stayed on Mounjaro, the 2.5, the whole 3 months, and lost the weight. So with the Wegovy, as they say, it's not as strong or doesn't have the same effects as the tirzepatide, i.e. Zepbound. I do see where I'm going to need to go up in dose, which is what I'm going to do. But I just wanted to give you an update and kind of show you into my world of what I do, which is walking. I do my boot camp. I'll show you some clips of that. And that's just the things that I'm realizing that I got to put in routinely in order to have a sustainable outcome. So again, thank you for watching. If you haven't done so already, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button so that you can know and follow me as I'm on this journey. It is a journey. And I think it's one of those situations when I realized that, hey, it's just that. And it's not going to be something that I'm going to do overnight. And for me to have the benefit of the outcome, I think that's something else too. So the thing is, it's a systematic approach for a sustainable outcome that has benefits. And sometimes we think of outcome and benefits as the same, but actually my outcome could be my goal, and then it's the benefits of achieving that goal that I have to think about. So that's one of the things that I think on this journey I'm learning, is that I'm having to put things in place that are systematic and routine for a sustainable outcome. And then I have to focus on the benefits. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll keep you posted, and I'll talk to you later.